This is super organic. Borrowed book any book in the world. Borrow it, magazine, anything. It's going to work, okay? Borrowed deck, shuffled deck. These are the conditions. Here we go. So let's say my friend Chris here walked into the studio here, and he's a cool guy. He's got a lot of cool stuff and a collection of poetry, let's say. And I pick up the book and I say, hey, Chris, what's this? And he goes, oh, it's a collection of poetry. I say, oh, it's pretty cool. Looks interesting. Let's try something here with borrowed book, okay? I'm going to use 2 cards from the pack here, 2 cards. And he give the deck a shuffle here. Boom. He can give the deck a shuffle. And I say, now I could go through the cards. We're going to need 2 cards. I can go through the cards and, you know, we could take them out. Boom and boom. But the problem with that is later on you're going to say, I did something tricky or controlling or whatever. So let's do this, okay? I'm going to give the cards a quick cut. And Chris, you're going to find the 2 cards behind your back. You're going to do it all behind your back yourself, so you're not even looking, okay? What I'm going to ask you to do is lift behind your back, lift a small packet of cards, 5, 10, 15, whatever. Lift them up and just turn them over, okay? Then cut even deeper into the deck. Pick those up, flip that whole thing, and turn those over too, okay? So that's what we'll do. Let me straighten out the cards here. Here you go, my brother. I'm going to give them to Chris. You take them, put them behind your back, okay? Lift off a small packet of cards, lift them up and flip them over. Then cut even deeper and then flip those over, okay? Now bring the deck forward and maybe in front of the camera if you want, whatever. I want you to spread through, you're going to go through all these, there'll be a whole bunch of face down cards or face up cards until you come to the first 2 face down cards, whatever they are. Yeah. So you spread through those first 2 face down cards, turn them over and show them to the camera, okay? I don't want to see them. I don't know what they are. Okay. And we're going to say that's the page number in the book. I'm not going to look at the book again, okay? You shuffle the deck. That'll be the page number. Now, I don't know, and it doesn't matter to me. Let's say you got a 2 and a 3. You could go to page 32 or you could go to page 23, whatever you want. But I'm going to hand this book to you slowly, okay? And I want you to take the book, go to whatever page of those 2 cards, okay? And look at the first word on the page, okay? And again, I'm looking away the whole time. The deck was shuffled. It's a borrowed book. It's super, super fair. Do you see the first word on the page?
Let me just get to the
Yeah, you take your time, man. Take your time. And you give people a chance to take their time and go through. And Chris and I have not set up anything here. It's probably video-wise looking a bit rough. Do you have the first word on the page? You take your time.
Yes.
Okay, now of course a lot of books have a title across the page. We're not talking about that. We're talking about whatever the first word is of the first paragraph on that page. Yes. It's a collection of poetry, so I guess, okay, so let me get a sense. I'm seeing it's 2 words. Is that right? No. It's 2 syllables. It's 2 syllables. Is that right?
Yeah.
And it begins with it begins with a vowel. I'm thinking it's eyesight, eyesore. Eyesight. It uses a force, a very cool force. And I remember when I first learned this force, and almost every magician I know who first learned this force, they all say the same thing. Thank Christ. The reason they say that is because this was invented by a guy of the name of Henry Christ. Okay, so it's called the Henry Christ force. Now, here it is. It's kind of an interesting example of psychological misdirection. I have 2 6s on top. 2 6s on top of the deck, okay? Now, if I ask somebody, if I say to them, what I want you to do in a moment is I want you to lift off a small packet, turn them over, okay? And then cut even deeper, anywhere you want. Cut in, the first packet could be 5 cards, could be 20, could be 15 cards, whatever you want. Then cut even deeper, 30 cards, 40 cards, flip those over, okay? So you've made 2 random choices, and now I want you to go through the cards, and they go through the cards, and the first 2 face-down cards you come to, okay? Those are the cards they're going to use. They're the 2 6s, okay? Now, this is one of these things that requires no sleight of hand, no setup, nothing like that. It's one of these examples of, in a sense, that where spectators or people almost fool themselves, okay? So it's self-working. This is something you can do over the phone. This is something people do behind their back. So the top 2 cards, when I cut off, and it could be any number of cards, they lift them up, they turn them over, okay? And then when they cut a little deeper and turn those over, doing that automatically leaves the top 2 cards, top 3, top 4, top 5 cards are always going to be the first cards they come to when they spread. Even though they had 2 free choices, it's always going to be those 2, okay? So that's the Henry Christ force. Now, you can start this routine by having, say, 2 6s on top of the deck, okay? Deck can't be shuffled then, but you can fake shuffle, keep it. But if you start with those 2 on top, it keeps it a little simpler. Now you can borrow any book, magazine, whatever, that has, at least 66 pages. And when you first get the book, you say, we're going to try something with this. And you make a comment. I mean, this is a collection of poetry by Rumi, R-U-M-I. I'm a huge fan of his stuff, Persian, and very cool, transcendental stuff. Anyway, you pick up the book and you say, well, that's interesting. This is interesting. I don't think I've ever, and you're literally just flipping through to page 66. You go, I don't think I've ever read this stuff before. I look at the first word on the page. It's his, H-I-S. And you don't just look there and then close the book. You kind of go there, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I should pick this up. Look, let's try something with this. So you kind of gently flip through, see what you need, and go from there and use the Henry Christ force. If you want to do it the way I did it here on the camera, though, what I do is I have the deck shuffled, and I've used this. This may seem bold to you and kind of obvious, but I've done this many, many times over the years. It always flies. Where I say you've shuffled the deck. We're going to use 2 cards, and let's say I come to the first any 2 pair. Say we're going to use 2 cards here, okay? And I tell you what, though, rather than me, and then I do a false cut. So I just put the 33 to the top. Then I do a false cut. Now the false cut I use, I've taught on this channel a few other places. Old as the hills. I come over and I'm grabbing the bottom half of the deck. I grab the bottom half. I turn this pretty much 180 degrees as this comes out and around, and I go down to the table and I complete the cut. Now it does nothing. I'll do it face up. Watch. There's a jack of diamonds. Does nothing. Okay, but it's a great false cut. So you can openly, if you want, you can openly go through, take out 2 cards, and then say, but rather than me taking them out, I'm going to have you get the cards. You're going to cut to them, and you're going to do it behind your back, and then you just keep moving forward with the effect. So it's your choice. Either you're going to go through from the shuffle, grab 2 4s, 2 6s, 2 8s, whatever, cut them to the top, put them to the top. If you can cull cards, if you're experienced at sleight of hand, then you know how to cut the pack once, and then cull the mate to the top, whatever, okay? So ultimately, though, what I do is I'm going to then have what I need on top. Henry Christ force, they do it once, they do it twice, they spread through, they come to the 2 face-down cards. They're whatever they are. They then go to the page, they note the 1 word. Before presenting this to people, I encourage you to watch my performance a few times. There's some subtle points in the languaging and things like that. But in the end, what's the effect? This is something beginner magicians and masters are very good at being clear about the effect. It's the intermediate ones that lose sight. So the effect here is that you randomly arrive at a page number and in a borrowed book. And the only person who looks at the first word is this person. Now, what do you do with that? Do you put your hand against the side of her temple there and try to get 1 word, 1 letter at a time? Does it start with a vowel? It's a consonant. Is it a K? It's an L? Do you write it down? Do you do an image? If it's something, it could be a mountain or it could be house. Do you sketch it on a notepad? So that's where you can be creative. That's where you can make this unreal event much more believable and far more real.